Okay, so I'm not going to be long because we have an important person this morning here, but I do have a couple of items to get through. I just want to mention right off the bat, you know, we have people in our club who, for various reasons, and this is my wife. My wife, as you know, was a member of this club for many years, and she had to step back because of an illness. But she's an honorary member, and these honorary members, they do a lot for our club. She created a quilt for our harvest dinner that generated quite a bit of income. And for the gingerbread contest, she's donating a prize for one of the winners, a mixer. And she's also made Susan Quilter. So she made these little, they're made out of material, gingerbread Christmas decoration for the tree. So we'll give that to each one. Now, I want to pass it around the room so you can see it. So these are people who are working behind the scenes for our Rotary Club. And, you know, they add an awful lot to our club. Warren Bagley is an honorary member and a very busy man on our train crew. And we're so pleased to have him because he's a great worker. He does a great job. So please keep these people in mind. And there's a few more.
And
Jamie Hardy, who he's a friend of our club. But man, does this guy do a lot of work for us. And Jamie, thanks so much. I want to pass this around so you can see it. Okay. All right. All right, where's my hand? Okay, moving right along. So how many people have actually gone into a Horton's restaurant and worked behind the scenes and did the smile cookies? How many? Okay, wasn't it wonderful? Wasn't it great? We did that last night in Stroud with Ann and the bar and
I had an afternoon shift as
who else
well.
was there?
Ken was there last one.
All of a sudden.
Mine is, he was a Christmas me, I'm the Army.
But it was a lot of fun. And I was so proud because I didn't just have smile cookies, I had a Chinaman, and I had a lady crying. So I'm not sure how they're gonna do today with these solo cookies. But it was fun. Teens at Risk back. So we're actually down a little bit, folks. And you know, we collect for the teens at risk, and these are teens who are not at home. They're living with their friends, they're still going to school, they're good kids, but at Christmas time, they don't get any. So sometimes the bag from Rotary is the only thing they get. So if you haven't taken any, please take one, fill it full of stuff. A little Christmas gift. Items they need. And it's a great thing. And thanks for looking after that for us. So to everyone, thank you so much for what you're doing. Jeff's got calendars. Please get a calendar. Great Christmas gift. I got a bunch from my family, and they love getting them. And I had a lady yesterday here at the library. She says, "Al, is the Rotary Club doing calendars this year?" I said, "Well, of course, we do it every year." She says, "Please get me one." So that's it for me. Welcome this morning. We're not going to hear from a lady who knows what she's talking about. I'm going to do my best.
No, oh, okay, you can go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to I'd like you to welcome a lady who I've known for many, many years, a wonderful lady. Get out there.
Thank you.
Just for a way of introduction, Louise came down last night, stayed with some family in Barrie, which is nice because it mentioned him get up before the crack of dawn, I don't think. But I surely wanted to say now because I often forget. Thank you so much for coming, Louise, because you're starting us on a trail that is going to take us really good places.
Well, getting no pressure. So thank you. And I really do feel like this has been a very warm welcome. I enjoy the energy. I appreciate the energy. And so just really quick. So I'm with the Rotary Club of Sudbury Sunrisers, and I have been since 2007. I have done a lot of the roles on the board, and I have been a past president in 2016. And then just the last couple of years, I just started rethinking what I wanted to do with the club or what I wanted to do as a Rotarian. And I decided to throw my name in the ring to take on a role at district, because I do really appreciate, and I know some of you, if I've seen your faces, getting out to the district level, even just at a conference or if you've been to the learning weekend, it just sort of expands your ability to see what Rotary is all about. And it also allows you to just expand what it is that you value and your connection to Rotary. So for me, that's what it was. which led me to become action planning chair. And so a lot of us have heard about strategic planning. I got away from strategic planning, that wording, because it's intimidating. I think it's more corporate, it's intimidating, it sounds cumbersome. And my personal goal is to try to keep it simple and try to just, whatever it is that a club needs to, in terms of tools and resources, to keep it simple. At the end of the day, you want to have a plan. You want to have some plans so that people know where you're going, so you can express, you can attract, you can tell people this is what we're up to, this is what we're about. Because in the absence of that, it's just too easy to get caught up in wishy-washiness or drama or just sort of losing your way, you know, like everybody's got great intentions, but sometimes we veer off and we don't really have some clear direction. So anyways, I was invited to show up. Today's intent, if you want to click on the slide. So we are planning to plan. So we are looking to get warmed up for a process that you're going to be welcome to partake in. So why are we here today? First of all, I want to start off because we are about creating hope in the world. That is the theme. That's the RI's theme, to create hope in the world. Whether it's this year's theme, we always do it. Like just listening to all the activity that you do, all the work that we do when we roll up our sleeves, we're creating hope. We're creating good things. So it's all about that. So that's the basic idea, is that as Rotarians, we're always about hope. Next slide. And this is the district theme, which is live your legacy. And I think that bringing up the whole idea of legacy is really, really important. I think some people do have, it is intentional, it is top of mind, that what I'm doing with Rotary is that's what I'm going to leave behind. When I am not on this earth, hopefully a few people remember the good things I've done. Maybe I made somebody feel good. Maybe I helped somebody along the way. We all have it, whether it's conscious or subconscious. We all have an intention as a Rotarian to do good things, and that is our legacy. So again, just representing so we're here today to talk about legacy. Keep going. So this is, this slide talks about what kind of club creates hope. I took this slide right out of the Learning Weekend in April. And when I saw this slide, I thought, there it is. There's the roadmap. If every club actually used every one of those and put some information underneath that, talked about that, you basically have your plan. So I did go a little bit rogue because there are a couple of other tools online. There's a lot of tools online actually through Rotary International District to help plan. But I just thought this, to me, it was just like, I looked at that slide and I just thought that's clarity right there. So what does a healthy, successful club look like? And I don't want to be in your way, so I'm a little bit. Yeah. So active, intentional member engagement, right? And we're going to talk, and that's where we're going to really spend our time this morning. It's dynamic, meaningful service. I'm hearing that, you know, decorating smile cookies was dynamic, meaningful service. You know why? It was fun. You were engaged. It was a good time. Effective governance. We know what it feels like when leadership is effective, and we know what it feels like when leadership is not effective. For whatever reason, no judging, just we know what that feels like. Whether you've experienced it in an organization such as your club, or whether you've experienced it at work. A lot of us have worked with where leadership is not really effective, and it has a huge impact on the club. Strong public image, so well known in the community. We have some clubs that are really struggling with public image. There's still a lot of people who don't have a clue what Rotary is, don't even know that their friend or somebody in their family is a Rotarian. We are very humble to a fault. So that that's something that we're gonna be thinking about as well. And then the last one is the diversity, equity and inclusion, which is a big focus. RI down with just trying to attract different members from different cultures, from, with different ideas. And it's probably the one that's maybe a little the most challenging right now, because it's actually asking us, for a lot of us, to learn a little bit more, to act a little bit differently, to change. So there's some work to be done there. So the one that we're starting off with, and my intention is to warm you up mentally, emotionally, to the idea of planning. So what I want to focus on today is active, intentional member engagement. Because if we don't have that, I feel the rest of it is, it touches everything. It touches the dynamic, meaningful service. It touches the governance. It touches the public image, all of it. So we want to start here. And that's why we're going to hopefully have a little bit of conversation before I leave as well. So next slide, please. So engagement or not. So engagement looks like commitment. And I think it just, It's when there's an engaged member, when you're an engaged member, you're trusted and you trust. People, more approving of what's going on. So you're not poo-pooing ideas right off the top. You're open, you're positive, you're also not afraid to take accountability, and you're involved. And I don't know, I think I may have one more. And your why is clear. So you're engaged because it's connected to your why. The opposite looks like this: not really committed, could be kind of cynical, probably critical, resistant to saying yes, negative when there's something going on. I might be really good at the blame game, or I might be just avoiding the club altogether. And at the end of the day, I might really be unclear as to why. Why am I Rotarian? Why am I committed again? Why am I going to pay my dues? That question is yours as an individual, is always yours. You own that. So if you're in this column, or if you're in that column, you own that. Would everybody agree? Mm-hmm. The club doesn't own that. Susie doesn't own that as the president, just so you know. People try to get you to own that. It's and you learn about it, but a lot of times, and I've heard it in my own club, I've seen it, I've seen good, I've seen bad, I've seen ugly, I've seen amazing. I've seen it all. As president, I've heard it a lot. And I didn't realize how many conversations I would have with individuals. And unfortunately, the conversations were when somebody was in that call. Unfortunately, that one oftentimes takes up the energy and the attention. And I will also say, I've been there as well. I would start sliding and I would start getting a little bit negative, and I would be like, and I would say no to things that maybe I need to give it some time, And when we're showing up like that, we really want to ask ourselves, like, what's going on? What's going on with me? And I got to share with you. So my background is in life coaching, and I have my own life coaching practice for, I don't know, 15, 13 years, my own. And then I worked with them. When I started to train as a coach back in the day, and I was working with my own coach, some mornings I'd come in and I'd be like, blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and he, and she, and he. And my coach would look at me and she would let me vent a little bit, and then she'd be like, what's really going on, Louise? I'd be like, tired, or I was burnt out, or something like this, I was dealing with something that I didn't know how to deal with. So really it wasn't that, it was here. And I think that is so important because we get bogged down. And sometimes it becomes problematic for the club, because what do we need first and foremost? We need good energy for a club. To run it, to make good things happen, we need good energy. So next slide, please. So also I put this slide in because I think it's really, really important, because again, thinking about your own experiences, think about your own interactions, whether, you know, with yourself, with others, in whatever role you've taken in Rotary. How often do we walk into a club with expectations? Better have a good guest speaker. That project better work. Well, that, you know, that board, they better do a good job. Or, you know, oftentimes we have expectations. Expectations, EX starts with EX, it's in the outside of us. How many expectations did you have of me? And it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot because I don't know what you're expecting. I may or may not meet your expectation this morning, because it's out of your control. How I show up, what I'm going to say today was out of your control. Versus intention. I control intention. So that's why I bring it up, because we are in control of our intention. So I will catch myself first thing in the morning. And if I really was honest to myself and I started listing things, and I would say, oh, what's your expectation? Well, I'm expecting that person to do that. I'm expecting that to happen. I'm expecting the sun to come out. I'm expecting. But if I don't ask myself, what are my intentions today? What are my intentions? And not just what my intentions are to do. How many of us have a to be intention? How are you going to be? So I often would suggest a to be list versus the to do list, or at least ahead of the to do list. And the other word that I like to poke around with is shoulds. We should, I should, they should. It's a bit of a should show, right? You get should on. And I would use that. And I never realized that's a word that my first coach brought up. And she's like, how's that? You know, it's negative. It's sometimes judgy. It's who likes to be short on. And now I use it, and I'll say, you know, like somebody will say, well, you know, you should, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, are you shitting on me right now? Mm-hmm. You know? So language, how we show up, you know, where we're coming from, intentions, just want you to give all that some thought. So engagement in my why. So I don't know if we have paper and pen, or if we even want to just do it, maybe just out loud. Yeah. If you want, or we could just do it like a, what do you want? You want to just do it like a conversation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I would ask you to write down 3 to 5 values. I will assign that for homework after you leave here today. But now, because we are a little bit time sensitive, who wants to share? Who knows right off the hop a core value that you have that really links up with your engagement in Rotary?
I have to learn something new every day.
So you value learning. Yes. And that's one of mine as well.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Nobody said to me, hey, join Rotary because it seems like you value learning and we have a lot of opportunities to learn. But over time, I realized that.
Yeah.
And once you realize that, so if you think about leaving Rotary, you would want to, well, where's my learning gonna come from? Not that it can't come from other places, right? But learning's a really, really good. Who else wants to share? Actually, everybody's gonna at least have one value that they're gonna share out loud.
Just to be useful.
To be useful. So purpose, to be of service. To be of service is important to you. It's at your core.
In some way.
Okay. And so there's so that's why you're a friend of Rotary.
Yeah, I guess.
And he won't
This
be-
mostly because this is fun.
And you might value fun too, right? So that it's important, and I think we were talking, Chris, you said about, like, I needed to do something. I need to feel like I'm doing something. I have done retirement seminars as well in my work. And it was information that was sent to me from somebody who was like an EAP provider. And the one slide that I really liked that they had sent to me was the 3 Ps of retirement. There's pleasure, passion, and purpose. And when you think about it, and it's not just a retirement recipe, I think it's a life recipe, but there are some people that are really unhappy. And if they look at their buckets, well, first of all, they would have to know there's potentially 3 buckets, and they would have to have something in each of those buckets. And some people don't have a purpose. Some people are waking up this morning and there's really nobody who's counting on them. There's really nowhere to go to make a difference. There's really nobody to help.
So that old saying, you gotta have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, get going.
Yeah.
There's no sense in just getting up, standing there and saying, well, I got up, that's it. It's gotta go further.
I got up, checked the obits, make sure it was in there. And because that, when people look at, there's a lot of unhappiness. There's no shortage of unhappiness of the people that are unsatisfied with life. Look at those buckets, look at them. So that's a value. Who else? Fellowship. Fellowship. You value fellowship. And does Rotary provide that for you? Yes. And if I said, you need to leave Rotary right away, would you miss that? Yes. And a lot of people, and to share that, like somebody had said to me, well, you become a Rotarian because, like you make friends. And I remember at the very beginning when I was being like lured into the club a little bit, and I was like, what's this all about? Honestly, thought it was a cult. No kidding. But I was, so Richard, past president Richard Lavere.
Oliver.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I worked for him for a little bit. And when I went into his office, I honestly thought it was a cult. So, but I would say to him, I'm like, I don't really need friends. I have friends. Why would I join a club to have friends? But I gotta tell you, it's been one of the most wonderful byproducts of Rotary. It's not just friends, it's good friends. Friends that care about the same things I care about, that like to make a difference. So it's like the friends that are like sharing the same values, right? That's important. What's value?
Well, I look at this club and what we just gone through. And out of chaos has emerged strong leadership and more people getting involved and working. I don't know how to put that into a value, but I like the word fairness. I'm a terrible guy for all this. They do an awful job, but really, to be fair, not everybody's the same. And people in Rotary, some people can add a little bit, and some people can add a lot. But all the little bits add up to something big.
Absolutely.
And I gotta tell you something, he said, friends, when I joined Rotary, I called the Rotary Club and said, what's it all about? How do I join? I didn't even think about all the things you're talking about, but they all happen. I've got friends in this room that I've now known for 15 years, and they're gonna be friends for the rest of my life.
Exactly. And they're also friends that I do business with those friends. I go to that person for physio. I go to that person actually for wealth management advice because I trusted them. I saw them from a very different vista. I saw them rolling up their sleeves. I didn't see somebody trying to sell me something. But next thing you know, I bought what they're doing. I bought what they're selling. So you're right, we don't know all of that. But once we activate that thinking, once we really are conscious of why, that becomes really powerful. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Next one, go around the table, make sure everybody's got an answer.
For me, compassion and empathy, and that ties into supporting my community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have the opportunity to express that is authentic to you and make a difference. Beautiful, in the community.
I was new to the community. Well, 10 years I've been here now, but it was a way to help make a difference in the community.
Absolutely. We really do want to make a difference. I think everybody wants to leave a bit of a mark. Again, back to legacy, we do want to make a difference. I think it wears on us if we're just busy, dead. Think, you know, like, really?
That's what sounds like it's happening right now.
Right. It's dead. Yeah, I'm trying to get away from that. It's like, oh, how's it going on? So busy. I'm so busy. Yeah, I'm so busy. I'm busy. Yeah, well, I'm busy. So it's almost like, but I use the word active now. Like I'll have, oh, you're so busy. I'm active because I'm choosing what busy. It all sounds like,
Sounds like work.
it sounds like, yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like this crazy treadmill that I can't get off of.
I was a charter member, so this is my baby. That's in adolescence right now, I think, and there are a lot of charter members in the room. But the reason I joined Rotary was because the mayor at the time said there will never be a Rotary Club in Innisfil.
Yeah.
So she values the challenge.
That's right, and it was very interesting because we showed that, you know, and I like a challenge. And a challenge is, for me, at the beginning, it was forming our club. Then the challenge became becoming a club.
Yeah.
Then the challenge became growing the club
Yes.
and all those things that come along with it. But I love a challenge better than anything. And tell me I can't, I'll show you I can.
Beautiful. And seriously, is challenge, it's a good word. And that hasn't actually, that word hasn't come up in my conversations, but I mean, if you're not up for a challenge, do you really want to sign up for Rotary?
It's a life challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Which also may be, you know, a bit of an impediment in trying to attract new members because they're like, seriously, I have enough challenges. So if you're a club that looks like you can handle challenges, that you invite challenges, and you turn it around and you make them opportunities, you make a difference. You don't just look like you're a challenge club.
Sometimes we are, but we're not.
And I want to bring back, remind you, after we've done a roundtable, I want to bring back your comment about out of chaos comes. I want to come back to that. Chris.
Okay, well, I guess my sort of lifelong value is, especially after I had kids and I've had a chance to meet people from around the world just because of settings I've been in. And people are people all over the place. And so with my children, I could see that they were going to have more interactions throughout the world, more knowing just because of media and that sort of thing. So I guess it's important to me to reach out to different people. So when the children were little, for every kid I had here, we adopted one overseas, you know, that supported one. So trying to have an effect in the world, but then where am I? I'm here. I had thought I would do service overseas, that when I retired, right? But that's doesn't work out with my health profile. So I can't do that, but I can do here and hope it spreads and also support various things around the world that seem to me to be right thinking to make everybody's life a little bit better, no matter what you're doing. Like it's easy to give accolades to people who've succeeded, but sometimes those people aren't even in the view of anybody because they're working so hard. Like the woman Al talked about from Sandy Cove, she's a grandma dealing with an autistic grandchild who's late teens, mid-teens, like he's getting big, right? Like that's a huge challenge. She's a hero.
And she's only got very partial vision.
Yeah. So, I mean, those people are heroes too. Anyway, sorry, I'm
No. So there's a lot, you can unpack that in a lot of different ways, but I'm hearing leadership, I'm hearing making a difference. Also hearing legacy, because you know, your kids know that you're a Rotarian. Right? You, whether you made a big deal of it or not is irrelevant, but they knew that their mother was working on some bigger things than what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? Right?
Well, they tell me I'm involved in too many things, because. And Mom, you're retired, why are you doing something more? But
Isn't it?
because I can.
Yes,
right? There
and
will
people
come a
who
time
say that
when I
are
can't.
not, yeah. People who say that are working and they're really busy and they're tired. And so they can't understand that concept of, what do you, I don't even like the word retired. It's almost like you have to go out to pasture and then what? I don't
Oh,
know.
no, I'm tired.
Oh, that was great.
Where's the practice?
Anyway,
Oh, thank you.
Well, I've been with Rotary since 2001. And I was with the club that folded, and we're still friends. Cause we go in once a year, the old club, and we go out for dinner once a year. And we've done a lot of projects in the past with that club in worldwide. We've done water projects, I've adopted kids across in Africa too for years gone by. And it means a lot. And my wife and I, we do a lot of stuff in the community with not even being Rotary oriented. It's just stuff that we do. And we always give it back to the community as much as we can. And that's what it means to us, like make sure everybody else can understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And money doesn't always mean everything. It means there's more wealth in forgiveness and in pleasure in helping people. And that's what we do. Like myself, I do a lot of stuff. This time of year I'm busy because I'm sad, so.
Really? Oh, yeah, Santa.
But tomorrow I have a conversation with the associate police about it, so.
So good.
You guys are good boys, especially you.
Are they gonna sit on your lap?
I consider personal.
But it's always giving back to the community, and that's the most important part is giving back.
What would communities be without service clubs?
Exactly.
Oh, and we've said, we hear it at district, we hear it at district conference, and where would the world be without Rotary?
Where would the world be without volunteers?
Where would the world be without volunteers?
There's a symbiotic relationship, proven relationship between the success of the town, its service clubs and libraries. And as a town fails, so do the service clubs and libraries. They pull out interest, they get disassociated. And as they succeed, and they can't separate them. So if you see, Aurelia was going through a down cycle, they shoveled some money to the library, some local service groups had a few successes that they built on, turned it around for the whole city. So they've really legitimately found that connection. So just check out a town, if their service clubs are alive and vibrant, so it's a town.
Wow, thank you for bringing that up, and back to your point, Barb. Suck it, Mayor. You need us. You're here because of us. Yeah, but you're right, and which, by the way, like this library is like.
Yes.
This is awesome.
I sold her a ticket for a tour after.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Cal,
I believe that many of the things that are in the Rotary for people have already said. Fellowship, giving back to the community. Now Barb dragged me here, a couple of years after I retired from my job and other things that I was doing. So I had no idea what Rotary was all about, but I made many friends and had lots of laughs. And it's a great place to come to and join and give back for volunteering. Yeah.
Beautiful. Really, right? When you leave a fellowship event, an event where everybody rolled up their sleeves like and did something good, like does anybody ever leave with worse energy? No. Always better energy. Nobody ever says, wow, that was a waste of time, eh? No. But there's a lot of things that people engage in that.
For everyone, we had one that
Well,
come on.
and that's statistically speaking, that's actually pretty good. Yes.
We had a Doug Judy.
Yes.
And Doug was a mentor to the club and to a lot of people, and and a really good friend of ours. And he said to me, we're talking one day, and he said, you know, Al, he says, and we did have people leave here. And for various reasons. And I would say to Doug, well, you know, they're gone now, Doug, and maybe the club's better. He said, it's no one out. They're leaving a better person than they came, because no matter what they think and no matter what they did, they can't help but remember the people they met and the things they do. So Rotary, you have a lasting thing with Rotary. Even if you leave it, it doesn't work out. You can't help but think of all the people you knew. And I'm thinking of the people around this room that I know that really make this town a success.
Absolutely, and yeah, and to your point, like, everybody's got a lot of those moments where it's like, wow. I met that person because I showed up at that meeting, or I showed up and I did some service work there, or there's so many, like, if everybody really, if you could just go in and pull out the inventory of amazing memories, and there'd be a lot. And so the whole idea is, if we don't take the time to stop and think about that, so it's really, and some of you may have heard the expression, the appreciative inquiry, appreciative intelligence. Anybody ever heard of that before? Appreciative intelligence is the ability to look at something so that you can really pull out the positives of that, the intelligence. What is that telling me? Because in the absence of that, it's just too easy to focus on the problems. It's too easy to focus on what didn't work well, right? And it's not to say we don't want to tweak things to make them better, but if you can't appreciate what is working, it just feels like that much more work, and the whole energy going into anything is very different. So it's like, what did I learn? What can we pull forward from that experience? And again, I'm going to come back to from chaos. Did you answer? No.
I was thinking about it though. Okay. One of the things I find, I joined Rotary because I never heard of Rotary before. I had an interview with the town at one point, and a member was Rotarian, so I looked it up and I came because I was looking for a replacement for. I had been with the Red Cross in Toronto, and I didn't really want to drive back and forth anymore. So I joined, and I find that I learned a lot, which is one of my values. Also, I find that this is like a family to me. They have their fights, and
Like any family.
What are you saying, Joanne?
Yeah.
when you have an issue with a personal situation, you've got a group to help you with it as well.
Yes.
Supportive.
Yes. Again, how many people are waking up this morning that don't have a purpose? They don't have maybe a friend, and they don't have anybody to call to ask them for help or for some advice. You have all of that. Those are just the byproducts of Rotary. Out of chaos, I do want to address that because Sue, apparently there was a bit of chaos in this class.
Just a little bit.
But you know, and I'm just gonna share a quick, so I went on the board at Sudbury Women's Center years ago. Kind of like the same thing. I don't know. I just said, yeah, what did I say yes to? Next thing you know, I'm sitting around the board table and I'm like, literally, what did I say yes to? But I started, you know, as I learned and as I got engaged and as I started to see what it was all about. And then I remember the ED, the executive director, quit. And I was in Collingwood actually, trying to have a good time with the sisterhood. And we got an emergency meeting, and I'm on the phone with the rest of the board, and it's like blah, blah, blah. And oh my God. And it was, oh my God, the sky's falling, and what are we gonna do? And can you believe? And then I just remembered one of my tools from coaching, which is exactly was like, okay, I'm going to stop personally. I'm going to get off this call if all we're going to do is sit and hang out in the drama fest, which is a place you can engage. And some of us are great drama queens. I could be a great drama queen. And it feels good venting, but staying in the drama fest doesn't do anything. Actually, it could do some damage. So I just remember going, okay, can we just stop? Because what I've come to understand is out of chaos, when something burns down to the ground or busts up or explodes, when there's a big storm that comes in, it feels awful, but when it passes, there's new growth. And if you look at it from that perspective, that sometimes something needs to be busted, something needs to crash for it, something needs to burn, because there is something that wants to happen. And oftentimes we're more prone as humans to resist change, to resist what feels uncomfortable, what might require some courageous conversations, that might require us to put our ego aside and allow, ourselves to be back to being open and trusting, even though it feels uncomfortable and I don't know if I agree. But that oftentimes it's really an opportunity. It's an opportunity because there's a potential, there's some possibilities and potential that wants to happen. So if we keep things the way they were and people are doing the same thing over and over, and sometimes something's gotta just happen to stir everybody up enough to go like, whoa, okay, what do we have to do? So out of chaos can absolutely.
Louise, about a year ago, we had 2 police officers here, just down the street from here, both ambushed and gunned down in the hill.
Yes.
And at the time, the chief was in an acting capacity. There was a changeover in leadership, but it wasn't really firmly in place. And at the funeral, which all of Canada watched, this acting chief got up and spoke. And out of all this, he became the chief. He's a member of this club. He's a strong, friendly, super guy. And the incident made him stronger and made him step in and take over the leadership. It's a terrible, terrible thing we're talking about. But that's an extreme case.
Yeah.
Here in our club, it's certainly not that extreme, although from what I heard from some people, it was going to go that way. But not only was it a crisis because of the leadership, the people in the club were genuinely upset to the point where some of them wanted to just step back from Rotary and wait and maybe come back later. So not only was it a crisis for leadership, it was a crisis for membership. And you know what? This club could have, I don't think it would ever fold, but it could have been hurt really severely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I'm hearing though is that you have a good foundation. So if I use the metaphor of storm, your house didn't fly off, the whole thing didn't fly off there and break into pieces. It got shook around. You probably lost some shingles.
Yep.
You lost maybe a couple of, you got a bit of structural damage maybe. But you have a really strong foundation. That's what I'm hearing here. And now it's rebuilding and rebuilding even better, right? Even better, even stronger. That is the opportunity. And the other word that came to mind when you were talking about the police chief, that's resilience.
Yes. Yes.
You're resilient. This club is resilient. And if anybody is unable to be resilient, it is possibly a good time for them to step back, because if in the absence of being resilient, you're really staying in the blame game. You're really staying a victim. The opposite of being resilient is victim. And it's easy to be a victim because it hurt, it was traumatic. Why did they do that to me? What the heck? But when you could really, really go, hang on a second, I said it the other day to one of my sons. It's like, it's not happening to you. It's happening for you. It feels crappy. But if you really could, set your ego aside for a minute. What do you need to learn? What do you need to get stronger at? What do you need to change? Because that's going to come up again and again and again. And the option is you could continue being a victim and you could continue thinking that life is doing something to you. So whatever happened, it was for you, not to you. Okay, next slide. Oh, sorry, just last point. Can you back up one sec? You don't have to actually, because I do remember. So linking, why is this important? Because your why is why you're gonna hang on, stay strong, be stronger, be influential, impact the club, which impacts the community. That's why if your why is clear, you make the links. If your why is not clear, you're gonna question yourself whether or not you want to stay in the game in a Rotary club, if you want to join, if you want to be an active, intentional member. So Rotary's values are fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. That's what's happening here. So we're lined up. That is what we're lined up with. Next slide. So our values, this is RI off their website. Our values as an organization represent our beliefs and determine our behavior. Our beliefs determine our behavior. Our values are also the basis for the guiding principles that define Rotary. We bring our values to life by showing how we use them to improve lives and communities around the world. You folks just said all that. That's exactly what you said. You are absolutely 100% Rotarians in alignment with who you are and in alignment with what the focus of Rotary International is. So my values as an individual represents my beliefs and determine my behavior. So if I really value fellowship, community, service, making a difference, all of that, am I really going to stay in the job office? Am I really going to insist that I got to be right with somebody or with the club, with the governance? So they're the basis for your guiding principles that define you. So as a Rotarian, I bring my values to life by, and that's where you really want to be clear. So
Louise, can I just interject to ask a question?
yes,
When you said about not having to be right, throughout my life, I've learned that, but I have to be heard.
oh, that's a good one. Thank you.
And that is something that I think is what we miss sometimes in our busy lives, in our business. But I learned a long time. I don't have to be right. I like to be able to, but
Bless you.
I have to be heard or I will not shut up.
Yes. I feel like I say that a lot. People in my life. Well, no, it is.
Because I think,
Yeah.
and that's what we need to go back to a little bit.
Yes.
To embrace the idea. I don't have to love everything you say. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but I will listen to what you're saying
Yeah.
and consider it.
Yes.
And that's so important to me. And I can't think that I'm that unique of an individual.
No.
I think that is something that's awful.
Yeah. And I tell my husband, like my husband and I will have, and we're so different. Why does the opposite attract thing? What's that all about? But anyways, I'm so different. And that's why I say to him, I'm like, I just need to understand. I know it's perceived this way. It's like, why are you challenging me on that? Like, why are you questioning everything? I'm like, because I just need to know. I need to know. Because if I don't know, you just want me to blindly agree and go, oh, okay. I'm like, not that person. We're not those people. Rotarians are not people that are just gonna take everything for face value. We're not those people. We're intelligent. We're creative, and we're not different. So again, I'm not going to beat this one, but so this was for if we had time to do the exercise, but I'm really it's going to be in the questionnaire. It's going to be in the questionnaire. So there's a direct follow-up into the questionnaire. We'll talk about that. So back to why we were here today. The next slide just reminds us that we're talking about active, intentional member engagement, not just for yourselves. When you're talking to potential new members, you want to weave that into the conversation. Next slide, please. So again, those are the 4 pillars. So I bring that up because in your planning, and it'll be up to you, how you get to a plan is is really, it's relevant to me, as long as you know, as long as the club feels like, hey, we know who we are, we know what we do, we're gonna do. So when we talk to people and our members are confident, and our members feel, you know, confident and they're excited and they're inspired. And we know who we are and what we're doing, really, and we enjoy it. That's the end result. Next slide. So the next steps, there is some pre-work. So the pre-work that I'm talking about is the questionnaire. Now, the questionnaire is now available electronically. Bill Halberg has put so I will be sending the link to you. What's nice about electronically, it just collects all the data, but if you can't access it or choose to do it manually, that's fine as well. It's identical to that one. I tweaked a little bit of one of the 4 quadrants, just a little bit of the wording back. So some pre-work, and then what I'll do is I'll report back to the leadership, and then this is my recommendation. Again, you could decide. So what I've done, like Midland has been my pilot program for a little bit of my process in helping clubs plan. I did come back and I talked to them about their results. Now, I could do that. I don't have to do that. I could talk to the leadership. I could even show up on Zoom if I can't get here, but if I have a good excuse to see my loved ones in Barrie, it's not a bad thing either. But so when in Midland, I did that second presentation, brought back the results, and it was funny because one of the members said, I was dreading this meeting, and then she's like, I'm really enjoying it. So it's not, just gonna say, like, if you engage in a process, it's really not that painful. My recommendation was creating working teams. So those 5 quadrants, the questionnaire is designed for each of those areas. It's very simple. It's like, you know, rating that area, and then I've got a start, stop, continue kind of format. So each area gets some attention from you. So you want to be seen, heard, and understood. You want to be heard. This is your chance. So hopefully, how many members?
22.
So, you know, ideally, if everybody could do it, that'd be the bomb. And then also use what's already done. I believe there was some SWOT, it was a SWOT,
Yep.
which again, so just, I changed I came away from SWOT, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I use what can we start? What can we stop? What can we continue? You may decide that your plan is let's continue doing the amazing work that we enjoy doing. That will be your plan potentially. And then put it into 3-year. Ideally, you've got maybe past, maybe not, present, current, next, so that there's a 3-year plan where you don't have to come back to the table and go like, okay, what are we doing this year? No, it's already. So it's very attractive for governance, for succession. Next slide. There. And that is it. So planning is work, but it's worth the work. Because it's sort of like I tell people, you know, you're really front end loading your pain. If you think planning is a pain, or you know, it's cumbersome or it's time consuming, you're just front end loading it, because in the end, you're going to have it. It's kind of like you're going to spend money at the beginning or you're going to spend money throughout. Either way, you're spending the money. So it's proactive, it's good use of your time, and then you've got to roll it next 3 months. Any questions? Okay.
Well, thank you so much. You have some of these if you can print them up in Sudbury.
I think I'm going to put them in like tomorrow.
Yeah, you might wanna.
Yeah.
Now's the time.
Now's the time.
For us.